From the time I've known you to now, so much has changed.
Love it raw. Apart from having a fuckload of Botox, I've actually just changed my mindset.
Yeah.
It's been a whirlwind, that's for sure.
It's hard to then be a young adult having to make big decisions.
My childhood wasn't great, and without getting too dark,
Did they know the real Nicole then?
100%. Like, how did you manage to do that when we're in this council house and like I just work at Waitrose? And I'm like, yeah, bitch, because I want to be a comedian. Like, what? Like,
This Nicole I see now is not the Nicole I knew
really?
7 years ago.
I think at that point, I was just so young and naive. This account now is like my followers of who I am, who I want to be, not who someone else wants me to be. I'm a very sexual person and I have my own spin on things, like as you see on my videos. I'm just me, and I don't mean to insult anyone. It's just like, I just take the piss.
Have you had any backlash from the content you've produced?
Chicks will be like, oh, but she sells her body online. I'm like, yeah, well, fuck off. Like, who cares? Oh, I'm so not a name dropper.
Oh.
But everything that has happened up until this point was just meant for me, because I needed to like tumble and fall, whack my head and be like, oh, okay. Obviously it's the universe being like, bitch, your life is about to change. But people only get to see 1% of me. So they just sometimes can just make that assumption. I cannot be bothered with having dicks inside me. I just need to be completely single, completely celibate. Hi guys, welcome back to Walk with BEX. I have a very special guest today, and it's me. Yes. Hi BEX, welcome to your show. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Shall I just stay with this the whole
I
time?
think you should just do the whole interview on
I love
me
it.
instead.
I know. So how are you today?
I'm actually really good, and I can't believe I haven't seen you in, I don't even know how long it is.
I think it's one of those things where we see each other at the gym and we're like, hi, like whenever I do visit Banús, once in a blue moon. And then I walk past and I'm like, hi, how are you? Yeah, it's been a really good time. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll see you next year.
Normally you catch me in the gym when I'm on prep or something. And I know that you followed my whole last prep in 2021 when I was going after my pro card, like all those times.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously I got it this year. But yes, guys,
So
I
good.
have Nicole with me. Would you like to introduce yourself? For anyone that doesn't know who you are or is not prepared for this interview,
Not prepared.
what do they need to know?
There's going to be a lot of swearing. There might be some semen, breast milk, vaginal juices, and dirty talk. Just raw is what you can get. Love it raw. And yeah, uncensored. If you get offended easily, you shouldn't be watching this. Correct?
Or listening.
Or listening. Actually, I forget that that's also a thing. We're listening.
Well, we have got these giant mics in front of us. They aren't phallic in any way, Nicole, so behave yourself.
They are. I already tried putting it on my ass. Yeah.
So I have known you for many years. I've been in Dubai obviously 7 years, and you were here before me. So you moved to Dubai like 9 years ago?
It's actually 9 years on Saturday.
No way.
I moved, you know what? It's funny. I moved over on 11/11 and I didn't realize it was 11/11 until 11/11 became a thing. Like, I moved over on 11/11, so that means that like the universe is just like on my side, you know? No, seriously though. So I moved over 11/11 when I was 21 years old, just like on my own. So I basically, it happened in September, the idea. So one of my friends came here for a work experience and then came back and we had a cheeky Nando's and he was like, mate, you need to move over to Dubai. Like, it's lit. You could do real estate there, because I was doing real estate back in the UK. And then I was like, yeah, but I want to become a personal trainer. And like, I don't know like where I would start. And he was like, just get out there. Like, go on LinkedIn, find like real estate agents, get over there, and then you can start your PT course. And I'm like, okay, great. Like, that's what I'll do. Literally went home that night, told my mum that I want to move over to Dubai. She was like, you don't know where Dubai is on a map. I still don't know. Don't know where Dubai is on a map. And I was like, it's fine. Like, I've never been there, but it seems super safe. And I just feel like it's a good idea. Like, I've always wanted to live abroad, work for myself. And there was another one. Oh, and invest in property. So I then went on LinkedIn, was connecting with just a bunch of like random real estate agents. Like, I don't even know who these people are. Then 3 weeks later, I got an email on LinkedIn from a real estate firm and was like, hey, I saw that you do real estate in the UK. Do you want to come over to Dubai and do it? And I was like, fucking yeah, I do. So then I went through the interview process and they were like, okay, you've been accepted. It took like 6 weeks for the whole interview process to go through, or like 4 weeks actually. And then they were like, but you need about £5,000 to move over with because you are on commission only. And I was like, oh, and they were like, well, you have to potentially borrow money from family, like if you don't have it. And I was like, well, I don't come from a wealthy background. Like I just, yeah, it's not a thing. So I was like, it's fine, I'll get a bank loan. And they were like, don't get a bank loan. And I was like, okay, I'll go get a bank loan then. And so I go to the bank and I'm like, I need a new car. I'm so sorry if the bank is hearing this. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it. No, I'm just kidding. But so I went to the bank and I got the loan, and I just called the real estate agent up and I was like, hi, grandma had 5,000 cash under her bed. So weird. Anyway, so then from like September, it was September, October, November. Yeah, 2 months later, I then moved over to Dubai and I'd never been here. I was just like, okay, I have one little luggage bag and like a little suitcase. Let's go. And then 9 years later, like if someone would have told me that what I have done and where I am right now, I would have been like, no, you're lying, because it's just crazy the path that I have like taken and gone down, and so much has kind of happened in that time. So
it is wild. It's wild. And from the time I've known you to now, so much has changed.
So much. I think just also the biggest thing, and since I came back to Dubai the other week, a lot of people have told me just like, you look different, you're glowing, what have you done? I'm like, well, apart from having a fuckload of Botox, I've actually just changed my mindset. Yeah. Like your mindset is the biggest thing to change, like your energy and who you are. And I just feel at peace. Like I don't feel that I need to like be someone that other people want me to be, or be this just a type of person that I used to be. I'm just at peace. So like I just want to live in peace, and that's all I'm looking for now. So I think that previous years, and I've gone through ups and downs of it where I've had a little bit of peace, but I've never felt fully satisfied. And I think it's because I haven't delved into myself. I've always tried to look for it in other people, if that makes sense. And then never really like, I've done self-help and I've read self-help books, but I think it comes in stages when you most need it the most. And when you hit your lowest point is when you have to wake up and be like, what the fuck is happening with my life, you know?
And I want to get to that because I know of some of your low points that you've hit. And I'm so pleased that you mentioned that the transformation within you has all been from your mindset. And that's exactly why I wanted you on the pod, because people might see you on social media, this comedian, expert of parody, mocking of social media influencers, and all of that jazz. And they all think that's hilarious. And they might think, how has she got to where she's got? But I remember the Nicole before. So I want to go right back. Okay. And I want to go back to childhood, because you mentioned you don't come from a wealthy family. Do you have siblings? What was growing up like for you?
So yeah, I have 3 older brothers, and
no way, I have 3 brothers too.
Do you? Yes. Oh my God, twins! I've actually got twins in the family. Have you got twins or no? I was gonna say, okay, now it's gonna get freaky. I've got 3 older brothers and a younger sister, but my younger sister is, I think we're 11 years apart. So or 13 years apart. She came later. So, grew up in a council house. Mum was on benefits. And without getting too dark, my dad was really abusive, not towards me. He was never he just wouldn't be able to punish me, but he was extremely abusive to my brothers. And I only started to admit this actually last year. Like, cause I used to say to people like, yeah, I've grown up. My dad was an alcoholic. And like, it's, you know, I just kind of would brush it off and be like, my childhood was fine. Like we were just really poor. But when I look back at it and like why I choose certain people in my life, friends, relationships or whatever, is because I, you know, watched my mum constantly get abused her entire life. And, you know, I've watched my dad physically hit my mum, and I've watched my dad physically like hit my brothers. And then he passed away of cancer. And my mum then also, as growing up, like she would struggle so much. She wouldn't be able to feed herself because she has to feed us and my brothers. And then she would also get into relationships where she would be physically abused, and I would hear my mum getting beaten up, and I'd be upstairs just like, you know, when a dog screeches because you stand on its tail. Like I specifically remember that moment where I'm on bed and I'm like, oh shit, the dog's accidentally been trod on, but it was actually my mum getting beaten up by a guy. And it's like, I would always close it off and be like, no, it's fine. Like it happened, you know, but until you go back to that point and sit there with, there's this thing called shadow work, I think it's called, where I've done this a lot this year, where I actually, as my adult self, I actually did this yesterday. I vision myself as that 6-year-old Nicole sitting in bed, hearing my mum get abused. As my adult self, I walk into that room and I'm like, it's not going to last. Like, this man's not going to be there. I'm 30 years old and this is all I've done with my life. And right now, this moment in your life does not define who you are. And it's not, it won't last forever, but you need to do the work in order, and you need to go through all of these things as well and be in these type of situations for you to become who I've become today. And it seems so weird going back and doing it, but shadow work is so important because you get to
heal your younger self,
heal your inner child, because I feel that that's all we are. Inside of us is just a child that had some sort of neglect, who had hopes and dreams, and as adults we get told that we're not good enough, we get told that we're this, that and the other. We have people manipulating us, we have people changing us, we go for certain types of people because we are so used to that growing up and conditioned, because that's all I knew. So when my mum would choose people that were emotionally, physically or whatever abusive, I said to my mum, like my dad, for example, cheated all the fucking time. And I was like, why did you stay with him? Like, he's quite clearly, you caught him in bed. Why did you stay with him? Because I loved him. So when I get in situations, I've been cheated on before. I've been cheated on twice. And it's like, why did I stay with that person and help them through it? Why? Because I love that person. But I don't feel like it's love. I think it's just the lack of self-love within myself, because I don't feel worthy, because I've watched my mum do it. So I think that it's completely normal to go through that and stay by someone's side when they're quite clearly just disrespecting you. So my childhood wasn't great. It was dysfunctional. I always had this head on my shoulders, and I feel that as a child who dealt with a lot of trauma, that's why I am like I am today. That's why I have dark humor. That's why I just don't give a fuck what people think, and why I'm just like, and have comedy and everything, because I think it's actually like a trauma, what do I want to say? Like the way to deal with trauma. And so, so my childhood was like that. And then coming up to like 13 years old, I met some really, really good friends who I'm still in contact with now. And they were the friends that helped me shape who I was going to be, because I grew up on a council estate, and because I didn't come from a rich background, I could have easily gone down the route of mixing
alcohol.
You know, having an alcoholic father. I could have gone down that route, because one of my brothers is an alcoholic, like, and bless him, I haven't spoken to him in years, because he doesn't want anything to do with the family because of what he went through with my dad. So, and I don't blame him either, you know, because he is just in that dark place. And I reached out to him last year when I was speaking to a therapist, and my therapist was like, I want you to write down everything about your childhood. And that's when I started to admit things of what was happening. And I actually was crying while I was doing it, obviously, because I've got to bring all this up. And I then messaged my brother, and I was like, I'm affected because I watched you get abused. I don't know how the fuck you must be feeling right now. Like, no wonder why you feel like you do. And like, he resented me growing up because I had constant love from my parents. And like, in the mornings I would jump on their bed, and my brothers would be in their room and be like, I wish that was us. And like, that's horrible, you know, like, and then because I've gone off to Dubai and done all of this with my life, to him, it's like, you did that because of the upbringing that you had, you know? So from his perspective, it looks like I've just had everything given on a plate. You were lucky. Yeah. And that I was lucky. And as much as, you know what, I have actually been very lucky, but also I decided to change my mindset and not be a victim of that, even though I didn't get abused by my dad, but I still was some sort of victim of abuse in the family. And I chose to change my mindset and say, I don't ever want this. I can't have this. I don't ever want my kids to go through this. I don't want to go through this kind of relationship anymore. And like, I've been single now for a year, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. And it's not because it's like, oh, I don't have no man. It's just because I'm at peace internally. I needed to be single to change the pattern, because I go for the same type of person because I'm a helper. And I've spoken about this with my therapist as well. And she was like, your pattern is because you go for people that need help, because I took a personality test. That's literally what I am. I'm a helper. I want to, you know, I will give people my last 10 dirhams, you know what I mean? Like, or 10 pounds or dollars, depending on where you're from. But like, you know, I will literally give someone my last amount of money because they need it, or I'll treat people all the time. But people, you know, obviously will take advantage of that, and they realize I'm a kind person, and then they feed off of it. And what I realized is that you can't change someone. You literally, like, my biggest motto now is like, if someone is like that, leave them to it. Like, they need to find their own path and go through their own healing. Exactly. Because honestly, that's what I've done. And you just have to let people get on with it. And I used to spend so much time and effort into other people's problems. You know, like even my little sister, bless her, she's 19 and she's really, really struggling. And I'm trying to motivate her to get a job. And it's like, I get so frustrated with her because I'm like, I just want you to be on my level. But I know that she's going through her own troubles and like, I can't make you like me, but I'm trying to make you like me. So like this summer when I was with my family, I actually just realized I can't make you be who I've become because you're your own person and you've got your own demons to face. And like, I just have to let you get on with it. And I'm such a tough love when it comes to her as well, because I don't want her to just sit on her ass and do fuck all. Like, I want you, like, if she said, move me out to Dubai, I'd be like, fine, I'll put you in one of my apartments and we're just going to see what happens. Like you can be an assistant for something. You can, you know, let's just get your feet on the ground. But it's very, it's just it's been a whirlwind, that's for sure.
It's hard. And when you're a young person finding your feet, when you've been through that level of trauma in your family, to then be a young adult having to make big decisions, it's incredibly overwhelming. I was having this discussion on another podcast where I was interviewed, and when you're in those teenage years in high school, that's what I called it, secondary school, and then going through college potentially, you've got to make big life decisions about what you want to do. And it's, are you going to university or not going to university? What do you want to do?
Did you go to university?
Yeah, but there's a long story behind that. You have to watch the other episode.
Okay, I need to watch this.
But like, I think that's a lot of pressure at like 18, 19, being like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And if you don't make that decision, it's like, you're then what? Stuck on the council estate? You're going to go and work a part-time job somewhere? What to do? And how do you know at that age what it is you want to do forever? You don't, because you haven't really grown up. Like, so I went to university. I studied to become a teacher. I did take a gap year before that.
Oh my God, you were a teacher. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I was teaching for 10 years.
I forgot about that.
How do you fucking forget?
Because you're BEX,
that's how we came to Dubai.
Yeah.
So I taught for 10 years, and I found my passion through that. But it wasn't until we came to Dubai and then I got into fitness that I was like, actually my passion is coaching. And I left an education that was somewhat stable and had a pension and all those benefits and everything, and was like, no, fuck this, I'm doing it on my own.
You have to take a risk, right? Because if you don't take a risk...
And that wasn't until I was like 33. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
How old are you? Are we allowed to say on camera?
You can guess, go for it.
Well, you just said you're 33, so that was 7 years ago.
No, I'm not 40 yet.
Oh.
No. 33 was when I started the business. We moved to Dubai when I was 30. So I'm just turned 38. Yeah.
Okay, well, you look amazing, by the way. I thought you were just
it's a fuck ton of Botox and filler too.
We love that. We love Botox and filler. Whoop, whoop. So, oh shit. Yeah, no, I thought that you were just like 31. So
I love you.
You're looking great.
You can come back again. But I think there's a lot of pressure. So at that age, when you... Okay, I kind of want to go back to that childhood friendship group that you had at 13. Yeah. Did they know the real Nicole then?
100%.
Yeah.
Like even up until now. And it was funny because one of my friends, so she recently got married and let me go back actually. When I moved to Dubai, we all lost contact because I was in Dubai.
Yeah.
And I felt that
even then, Dubai at that time was very fucking different to what it is now.
So different. And I feel that I just lost myself in the process. And I think that you do, like when you go on this solo journey with yourself, you meet people and then you kind of become a bit of a chameleon to them. And then you meet other people and you're just different friendship groups and you're trying to figure out who your friends are.
And it's so transient here in Dubai as well.
Oh, yeah.
In and out all the time.
In and out, exactly. So it was only up until the last 2 years that I got back into contact with my school friends. But not that we fell out. It was just we fell out of alignment. So they weren't aligning with me. I wasn't aligning with them. But there was no conversation of it. It was just, we didn't message. And that's completely fine. But now, and I would, hang out with them and they're just like, you're finally back to the Nicole that we know when we met, when she was 13, because I've just really tapped into who I wanted to be. And it was at the point when I was 15, I did hypnotherapy and I went back a few times in the hypnotherapy. One was when I was, actually really young, 4 years old, when I wasn't able to use my voice for something. And then another one was when I was 15 or 16 it was, and I was in performing arts and I grew up and I love drama. So I was in performing arts and I would never get a main role. The teachers were just so bitchy in the school. And I remember specifically, we were doing a piece and I basically came out and did a comedy part. and I made it funny, and the teachers shut it off, and they were like, you're always doing this, you're always messing around, you're always trying to make people laugh. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, because I want to be a comedian. Like, what? Like, there is other things than fucking Shakespeare, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be on stage being like, ow, thou art fucking shit. Like, I want to be a comedian. I want to go into some sort of acting or that is a comedic role, because that's what I feel like I was born to do. I love being on a stage. I wouldn't want to do something on stage. I want to do stand up eventually, but like, I'd prefer to do a TV.
We're going to make that happen.
We're going to make that happen. So yeah, and then it was at that point in my hypnotherapy, I was like, is at that point when I said, I'm not cut out for this. I'm going to just have to go, because I don't have the money to go to a university, to go to an acting school. Obviously in acting school, I'm going to have to be super prim and proper and drama and Shakespeare and all of
follow
this.
the script.
And follow the fucking script. And I was like, well, that's it then. That's my hopes and dreams done for a fucking acting career. And it was at that point when I just was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I remember my friends were going to university. I was 18. Sitting in my bedroom with my mum crying, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I feel forced to go to university because my school is trying to tell me that if you don't go to university, you won't be successful. So I'm being
exactly what I had.
Oh, yeah.
Fill in your UCAS form now,
yeah,
or you're doomed.
now or you're doomed. And then I'm like, okay, so I don't know what I'm going to do, because my dream is not to go to university to study economics and get in all that debt that I know I don't need, because I don't even have money. So how am I going to make that back up? And it was all this whirlwind. And it's funny because when I told you about shadow work, I went back to that moment yesterday, because when I told you I booked my flights for my friends, and I went back as 30-year-old Nicole, and it was before I went to bed, and I sat on the bed and I said, bitch, I'm 30 and we've just booked flights for Sophie, Abby and Marcy to come out to see you. And then like, you know, and it sounds so weird. And like, I have a conversation with myself almost just in my head to heal that 18-year-old Nicole who was sitting there like, I don't know what to do. But now she's like, what? Like, how did you manage to do that when we're in this council house and like, I just work at Waitrose as a part-time gal, you know, like how did you get there? And I'm just like, just wait, honey. You just wait. And it seems so strange to do that and have conversations with yourself. It's not out loud. It can be out loud though, however you want to do it. But it's so rewarding to like give back and actually go back to those times and just heal yourself, you know? Yeah, it's...
So tell me what changed then when you came to Dubai?
In terms of what?
In terms of your personality, like this Nicole I see now is not the Nicole I knew 7 years ago.
What would you say?
Maybe I didn't know you on a personal level, but okay. So physically you looked very different. You were very, very slim, almost borderline
anorexic looking.
Yeah, I was worried about you.
I don't even know how I got to that. Like, I don't... And the thing is I never had an eating disorder, but I had body dysmorphia severely.
Yeah, I would have said that because whenever I saw you in train, because when we came first, we went to Train SF, you were always doing cardio, and I couldn't remember, and you were doing photo shoots, and then I think you did a prep and you did a show, and you were in a relationship at the time, which to me, I wasn't too sure what was going on there. It was all a bit...
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
But it was... So yeah, so 7 years ago, when was that? That is...
I just remember... Blonde, short hair, super freaking shredded. Yeah.
The bob.
Yeah. You had no boobs, no ass, but everything was peeled. Literally.
Yeah, everything. I think at that point, I was just so young and naive. Like I think I must have been like 23. And I think it was just this young girl that had, you know, come to Dubai. I've just got straight into the fitness community. And
you started your personal training. You were personal training then as well.
Yeah, personal training, like really balls deep into it. And I think that I was around just even in the gym, like so many shredded people. And, you know, that's kind of when Instagram started to become a thing as well. And I'm looking at all these shredded girls and I'm like, wow. And you realize how toxic it is. And I remember there was an influencer called Karina L, and she was my dream body. Like I was like, this is the body that I want. And the thing is like when you look at yourself in the mirror when you're so shredded, you don't think you're shredded enough. No. You're like, it throws you off so much that you become so addicted to how you look. And it got to the point where I would eat a cheat meal, like with my boyfriend at the time, and I'd be there like pinching myself because I'm like, am I gaining fat? But again, I love food and I'm such a big foodie, but I just didn't realize at the time how thin I was. And obviously at the time I was in that relationship and there was a lot of, how do I want to say it? There was, you know...
It was a lot about image, and he was very much on social media as well, image-wise, wasn't he?
Well, no, not back then with the short hair. I think this was in 2016, right? Well, kind of. I mean, we were both trying to do Instagram, you know. But back then, what do I want to say? Yeah, it was just a young relationship. I was super young. I was like 23. It was my second relationship, actually. And I think that I had to just go through that. We were together for like 2 years, and it was just, you know, I was just in a really, really young mindset. And then it came to like 25, and 25 was actually I broke out of that relationship when I was 24. And then 25 was the time when was it 25? 25? Yeah, 25. I think I got out of that relationship. I'm trying to think back at years because I go in years rather
2018,
2018. 2017 we broke up, actually. 2017 we broke up, and then and I always found that I was in and out of situations with people. So I would be with someone, and then like we would get back together, break up, get back together, and it was a toxic situation. And then I dated someone else for a few months, and then I got into like a 2-year relationship, and I always felt that this is actually the longest I've been single. For a year. It's the longest I've been single since my first boyfriend here.
Yeah.
But 25 was the day that the time when I changed my mindset in terms of like, I started reading a lot more self-help books. I started learning more about money and finances. And that's when I started to think, oh, okay, my mindset needs to change a little bit. And
is that when you started investing your money and starting?
No, that happened in, so what are we, that happened in 2021 is when I bought my first property. Because what happened is in 2019, December, I actually went completely broke.
I want to get to that. Okay, before that, social media, when did that start to build up? Because I remember this when you got broke and didn't have anywhere to live. I want to get to that for sure.
So social media, I felt like I was always trying to dabble in and out of it. And I had an older account. So this account I have now is new, and it's completely grown on my own, which I'm very proud about. And
Organic growth.
So I was always kind of wanting to get on that social media side of things. So I then met someone who was in social media and also was like kind of helping me. Well, not helping me, but I guess we would do content together, and that's what would then push the social media and my account. But what is really nice now about, and that was in, when did we meet? 2019 is probably when it started to grow a bit more. 2020 was, obviously when COVID hit, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do YouTube more and everything. That's when I got the OF as well. Yeah. And then in 2021, that account got taken down. And obviously, and I was at like 360,000 followers, and I'm like, fuck. Like,
I remember when it got taken down, and you literally were like, and Darren told me, and I was like, right, where's her new account? I'm following ASAP. I need to help this grow again.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. Like, all I'm going to have to do is just start a new account. And I'm so grateful that I did that, because this account now is like my followers of who I am, who I want to be, not who someone else wants me to be. And because
it's like all the old Nicole, where it was like super shredded, not super confident in yourself. That's
also
all
just
gone.
Extremely, like, I felt like my content was even though I'm a very sexual person, but I felt like it was a lot more sexual, being like, oh, I'm a ditzy blonde. And it's like, I'm not a ditzy blonde. I'm a grown ass woman. And like, yeah, I have an OF, but if you want to go and see my tits, which that's literally all I get out, then go and have a look at it. You know what I mean? Or me twerking.
Put the link below.
Put the link. Or you want to see me twerking in a thong, go for it. You know what I'm saying? But like, I did do a little bit more. I never had sex on there. I've never done anything like that. But I would say I was a little bit more sexual on there at a stage of my life because someone else wanted me to be. And I was actually groomed into it, which is I'm still actually working on myself with that now and trying to come to terms with those kind of situations. But now I'm like, okay, no, this is who I want to be. I literally will do a video of me tits out, dancing in the mirror as a joke, like, what's up, motherfuckers? And like, you know what I'm saying? So where were we at? I forgot.
So it was social media started to really take off.
Yeah.
Then during COVID, was that when all shit hit the fan during COVID? Was that when you lost your place and you were homeless? You went
so that was 2019. So I got kicked out on Christmas Eve 2019 because I went completely broke. So what happened is that I knew I didn't want to do PT anymore. I thought by the time I'm 30, not that there's anything wrong with PT, it's just I'm trying to live the 15-year-old Nicole dream that she wanted to live. So it was 2019, I knew I didn't want to do PT. So naturally what happens when you know you don't want something, when you know something isn't right for you, things start changing. So my clients were not training with me anymore. People were not renewing. And I'm like, what is happening? And obviously it's the universe being like, bitch, your life is about to change, you know? So I was like, oh shit. So anyway, and I remember it was, so basically I obviously was training, and when we travel, we can't have clients. And my boyfriend at the time was like, can you please travel with me to New York? And I was like, yeah, but I can't because I need to pay my rent. If I come to New York, I can't pay my rent. He's like, don't worry, I'll pay for it. And I'm like, okay, well, I've never had a guy pay for my rent before. I feel uncomfortable, but you want me to support you? Okay, I'll come. And basically something happened with the landlord where he basically exposed himself to me on social media through like a bomb. And I told my ex at the time, and he was like, that's it, I'm not going to pay for it. And so I told the landlord, and I was like, okay, he doesn't want to pay for it because he knows this has happened. And he was just like, well, you need to get out. And but what's so crazy is that there was like, how can I put it?
This was whilst you were in the States, all this conversation was happening.
Yeah, it was in the States. Yeah. And then I came back like early December, and I was like, he's not going to pay for it. And then I basically had to move all my stuff out on Christmas Eve. But then I realized that it's just also because the person I was with at the time just didn't actually have the money and kind of lied about it. And yeah, and then what happened? So then we basically moved in together in January, and then that's when I started to get a Patreon. I got Patreon first because I was like, I want to test the waters with this whole OnlyFans situation. And it was even though I had the idea, it was very heavily influenced by this person as well. So I was like, let me just see, I'll see what it is. Like, I don't want to be sexual. I just want to because I post bikini pictures and ass pictures on Instagram, I may as well just move all of that over a paid subscription and have people go to there if they want it. So Patreon went really, really well. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to get an OnlyFans. So March 2020, just before we went into lockdown, that's when I got OF. And then that's when things started to like change, like kind of started, you know, finances started to come in and everything like that. And then, yeah. And then, so since then up until now, I still have it, but now I'm just more myself rather than, you know, being who someone else wanted me to be, which was just a little bit more sexual. And I'm a very sexual person, and I have my own spin on things. Like, as you see on my videos, like I'll do funny sexual things or say the word pussy fat all the time, but I have my own spin on it, and I can be goofy, and like, I don't need to, I can dress the way that I want rather than having someone else's influence of being like, wear minimal clothing. And I'm like, okay, you know. So yeah, so that's kind of the journey with social media. So now it's going really well with the parody videos, which I'm very, very happy for. And I feel like I've just found my groove. Like, I'm just myself. I take the piss. What you see is what you get. Like, I'm also a massive softie, and I've been through a lot, but I'm also very open about it, and I'm not afraid to just speak my mind. And I think that so many people on social media these days want to sugarcoat things, and you have to be careful with what you say. And it's like, as long as I'm not literally insulting someone and being racist or mean or like or siding with someone, you know, I'm just me, and I don't mean to insult anyone. It's just like, I just take the piss, and if you don't like it, you don't have to follow. Like, I'm not a nasty person, you know. I
would say that most of the comments and the interactions that you get are all positive and in the light of it's humor. Yeah. Have you had any backlash from the content you've produced?
Not yet, but however, one just got taken down earlier today.
No.
But the thing is I realized what happened. So it was I posted one, and it was me in a bikini, and I said, can you please not look at me? Like, you looking at me and coming onto my page actually violates me or whatever.
I saw that one and I liked it.
So what happened is, because in the caption I put men are disgusting, and I think the algorithm saw it as hate speech. So I'm in contact with Instagram, and I'm like, if you look at my page, you know it's like comedy and I'm sarcastic. I'm just a sarcastic Brit. Bring it back to me.
I'll change the caption.
And I'll change the caption. So I'm currently in a dispute with them now, but I think that's what the reason was that it got taken down. But honestly, there's a few comments of like, chicks will be like, oh, but she sells her body online. I'm like, yeah, well, fuck off. Like, who cares? I'm taking the piss out of myself as well. Like, I am the person that I speak about. So why are you trying to come at me for? Like, yeah, okay, I get my tits out on OnlyFans, but I also have bought 2 properties with that money, and I've also made a bunch of other investments. What have you done? You know? So it's just, not that it's a competition, but just like, stop worrying about what I'm doing and just focus on yourself. You do you. Get on with it. I can't be bothered. So I don't usually entertain that, because I know that, I think I've been in a position before where I've maybe looked at other people's lives and been like, what fucking this and this. Judgmental. You judge. I think that all of us have gone through a moment in our life where we've judged people, and it's just because we're so unhappy and something is missing in our lives.
100% agree. I think if you can look at something or speak to someone with little to no judgment, it means you're more of a secure person yourself.
Just
I
so
always
secure.
say this, and
Yeah.
I'm like this with clients when they're in the gym, they're worried people are looking at them, or they're on a journey and
Yeah.
they're like, but my family don't understand, I'm in a social situation. I'm like, at the end of the day, if anybody's judging you for what you're doing, it's because they have their own insecurity
Yeah,
and their own lack of
100%.
self-love or worth, and they're dealing with their own battles. It's
Yeah.
not a personal
It's
thing.
not- it's nothing to
and
do
that's
with you.
exactly the same online.
Yeah. So anything that I do see, which is very rare, like once or twice here and there in a month, I just hope you're good. Hope you heal, love. Like you're good. You know, you'll get over it. But then also, I also have a fuckload of just white knights that come and be like, don't be mean to her. And I fucking love them because they will just be on there and they are doing all the work for me and I don't even pay them. I just send them a tits. Just kidding. But like they will do everything for me. They're just like, don't speak to her like that. Oh, look at you in your picture. You look like a gremlin. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, can we just actually be nice to one another? But I just let them get on with it. You guys, because honestly, the more that you guys are commenting, this is bringing my algorithm up and I'm getting more sales. Like, please bring it. So it's, you know, it's smart in some ways because it creates debates, you know.
Yeah.
But I like the angle that I've done with it because obviously I came from a fitness background as well. And
that's what I said, like you're mocking yourself and what you used to be. So it's like, you're not even like
100%.
worried about it.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Like I'm good. I'm just going to keep, you know, riding this wave of what I'm on and just see where this takes me because it's slowly opening up and like different types of people are noticing, you know. I've got different people reaching out being like, I love your work. And it just takes one person to be like, let me change this. Let me change your life.
Tell me some of the names. Someone that maybe has contacted you and you're like, oh, holy shit. And you've had like literally like fangirl moments.
I'm so not a name dropper,
Oh.
but I will say this one person because I was very, very, very shocked. Actually, Shaquille O'Neal messaged me.
No way.
Yeah, he messaged me and he just said, I just love you. And I don't think he meant it as like, oh, I love you. I think he means it as just like, he probably saw my page and was just like,
Keep going.
yeah, you know, and then that was it. And I just said, thank you. I think I said, it is an honor, sir. Thank you. So like stuff like people like that, it's just so nice and rewarding for someone at such a high status. Like he is he's a fucking biggest person literally in basketball, you know. And it's just so amazing that my videos are getting on his algorithm and he's actually acknowledging it, and that just feels so good to me. You know, and there's been a few people here and there, but I would say that was the one where I went, what?
15-year-old Nicole's like, what?
Like okay, you know. And yeah, so it's just mad. It's just mad, like the power of social media as well, you know.
And the fact that you can control it all yourself. You're not there in the gym with a videographer like all these other social influencers and fitness influencers are. You're pretty much doing it in your hotel room when you're on location. Like,
yeah, anywhere.
You film and edit it all yourself, correct?
Film and edit it all myself. I sit there and I've got this pink little notepad, and that's where I write my script down of, hey guys, come watch me and get this pussy fat out. See you next time. I literally write everything down in this little notepad, and then
why didn't you bring it? That would
should have bought
sick.
it. I should have bought it, right? And I just that's what I do. And I just think that this is everything that has happened up until this point was just meant for me, because I needed to like tumble and fall, whack my head and be like, oh, okay, I'm actually meant to just be in this situation. Like, I'm meant to be here now. I'm meant to be speaking to you. I'm meant to be doing this podcast and sharing this story. You know, I really feel that one of my friends reached out yesterday and he's feeling a certain type of way. And I said to him that just remember that things that are happening to you are there for you. They're not against you. Like, it's everything that is going on in your life is for you. It's not against you.
It's there to teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
It's there to help you grow, to move forward.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, at the moment in time, if you would have told me, you know, whenever I was going through a really dark period of my life, if you were to tell me like, you know, it's just because you got to get through it and, you know, this is going to happen, you wouldn't believe it. You'll just be like, well, no, I just want to feel better now, you know?
Yeah.
So, but when you can finally look back and reflect, like I do a lot of time reflecting, it just, your mindset just goes like, oh shit. And then you trust processes more. The more you put trust in the process, and the more it, you know, it happens and things go like a certain type of way, the more trust you build up, and you just surrender and say, okay, I'm just going to let this happen.
I think that's a really good word to use, surrender. Because I think so many people, when they face barriers, obstacles, something terrible happens, it's very hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And in some ways you have to just stop and go, this is happening for a reason. Some people say, oh, the universe is teaching me something. Some people say everything happens for a reason. Some people say karma, whatever. But I think if you can just, like you said, learn to surrender and be like, I don't have control over this situation, but I have control how I come out of it.
Yep.
And what I do.
Control how you feel. You can control your mindset with it. So it's up to you to move to that next phase. And I feel that you get obstacles put in your way, like whoever, the universe, God, however people want to say it, some things will come into your way and then you'll be like, okay, am I going to take the same path that I've usually taken because that's what I'm used to? Or shall I just go really uncomfortable and say, oh, all right, well, this is going to be a dark, lonely, scary road, but at the end of it, it's so much better than the road that you would usually take if you were just to follow that same path that you've always followed.
So true. So true. And it's such a hard thing to do. And I remember when I quit teaching, I was here in Dubai.
So scary as well.
And I was here for like 2 years. And it was June 2019, when I decided I was going to hand in my notice. And I'd already agreed to do another contract to school. And I remember going into the principal's room and saying, I need to meet with you. And she thought I was going to tell her I was pregnant. She was like, I thought you were going to say you're pregnant and you need maternity leave. I was like, no, I quit.
Quite the opposite, actually.
I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And she couldn't understand it because I was already in a senior role. I was doing really well.
Wow.
I just fallen out of love with it. And I'd started coaching. And the hardest thing was to rip that Band-Aid off and to quit and then pursue this. And
that's all you have to do.
Never did I think that I would have started a podcast in 2020, which was just audio during lockdown. Never did I think I would have started YouTube, learned how to do that all myself, and it's grown.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. And never did I think I'd be sat here interviewing people that inspire me like yourself. So I think you're absolutely right. But I do want to ask you if you want to share some of those real dark moments that were turning points for you. Is there any in particular that you're happy to share or can recollect that was when things really fucking changed?
I think it was in 2021 when I had left a really toxic relationship that I walked out and said, who the fuck am I? Like, I am a shell of a person. I have just, like, I don't know where to start. Like, I have just spent the last 2 years trying to help someone and be someone who I'm not, who they want me to be. And it's like, how do I now know what I need? Like, it was so confusing. And it's like, I would go to LA and I would try and mix with people and I would, be hooking up with someone and just be like, oh, is this right? Like, is this the right thing to do? Because like, this is all I've known. And I did a lot of things in that relationship that I would never, ever, ever, like, the thought of it now actually gives me the ick for myself. Cause I'm like, I can't believe that I would put myself in those certain situations because I did things out of love. Again, just exactly like my mother did. Like, she did things out of love. And it's like, I stayed by this person's side. Well, they were also going through dark moments, but in that moment of me staying by someone's side and helping someone, I lost myself because my self-confidence deteriorated. I was never shown any love. And the only time that I was given love was only when I would do things that this person wanted me to do, which was, sexual acts and being a certain type of way on social media or being a certain type of way on OnlyFans or even in person. And it's like, and that's because I didn't know my self-worth. I didn't know what self-love was. I didn't know what my self-worth was. All I knew is like, oh, okay, I'm in a relationship with this person. I need to help them. I need to show them love and I need to prove that I love them. So by doing that, and the thing is, what's really fucking crazy, and I spoke this with my therapist as well when we did hypnotherapy, she said, why did you go for that person? And I said, because when I was in school and I never got picked for a main role, or I just never had the main part, or I just didn't feel ever good enough. When I got with someone who had a higher status of me, I thought, why has this person chosen me? Like, why have you come to me and now you're wanting to be with me? Like, I just was like, this is so crazy. So I was intrigued and I was like, okay, well, I want to just maybe get to know this person because you want to get to know me. And like, but I was never attracted to the person. Initially I was like, I don't know if I'm actually attracted to this person, and then obviously as time goes on, you become more attracted and you like their personality. And then this person has a lot of beautiful traits, but also some very, very dark traits that I got to witness. And I don't know what he's like now, but all I know is that what the version that I saw, and I feel that people do meet different versions of yourself. And I met a version that completely changed me as a person. So when I came out of that was at my lowest point. And 2021 was just even though I perceived to be very, very happy, and like, it was funny because my friend came to see me in 2020 when I was with this person. And she was like, you seemed really happy. She was like, but I went home and said to the girls at school, this is fucked up. Nicole's not herself. Like, she is blindsided. It's like she's on drugs the entire time, which I obviously wasn't, but like, she is a shell of a person. Like, it was just such a dark time of my life. So 2021, I then just didn't know myself. I was trying to find my groove of social media again. My social media account got taken away. So I was like, okay, well, I guess that I need to be this certain type of way. And I was just so confused to who I was. Like, even when I'm trying to speak it, I'm confusing myself now because back then... It's
probably hard to remember because you were in such a blur.
Yeah, the whole thing was a blur. And then it was until 2022, that I started to really look into it. And
is that when you got a therapist?
Yeah. So I've always kind of had therapy, and I've throughout my life, but this is when I got someone and it was a guy at the time. Now I'm with a different therapist. She's more of a life coach though, because I went through my therapy sessions with this guy, and I wanted to go for a man because I felt that I'd grown up with dudes, and like, I needed a man's perspective. Like, why am I doing this all the time? And I actually got into a very short relationship last year with someone, lovely guy. And however, I felt like I get taught lessons all the time. Like, I moved to Texas to be with him, and he's great in some ways, but also he kept dismissing my needs and crossing my boundaries. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? Like, do I stay with this person and continue to have my boundaries crossed and my needs not met, just like the previous relationship, but just like not on that same level? Or do I walk away and say, I'm better than this? And it was at that point that I walked away from him that I actually realized what self-love is. And it was like, and I remember like, I then flew to LA afterwards to be with some friends for 2 weeks last December. And I was just like, that's what self-love is. When you know that you are worth more than what that person has given you. And that's not in like, oh, you need to be giving me this, this, and this. It's just basic fucking human principles that someone needs, and you're not meeting it. You're giving me you're not even giving me the bare minimum. I've moved across the country to be with you, and you can't even get a passport, and you're dating an international hun. You know, like, get a passport. Like, but I think also I was one of his first relationships. So to give him the benefit of the doubt, which I always do in people, he just needs to go and experience other relationships and be, you know, and grow in his own way. And I probably taught him a lot of lessons just as much as he taught me a lot of lessons, because he was extremely loyal. He was extremely loving and affectionate, which I didn't get in my previous relationship. And, you know, and we had a good time. Like, he would always want to go out and have fun with me. And again, I would never get that in my previous relationship. It was just like, I'd have to go out with my girlfriends and he wouldn't ever come with me. He'd just always be at home, and I'd just be like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go out, you know? So it was at that point when I broke up with my ex last year, when I said, this is what self-love is. And then that's when I took on the journey, and I said, I need to be single. Like, I don't want to be involved with anyone. Like I cannot be bothered with having dicks inside me. I just need to be completely single, completely celibate. And now is a time when I've realized that I'm at complete peace. And I think where I go wrong is when I meet someone and I like them, I'm like, let's be in each other's company all the time, you know? And that's what happened last year. You know, I met him and I was like, fuck it, like, you're lit, you know? And especially because I've never experienced someone like him before, where he was very loving and affectionate. I was like, this is great. And, but now I realize that I need to take my time in getting to know someone. Like, I need to meet someone and be like, this is on my terms. We are going to take our time. Like, I need to know you for about a year before we even do anything, because I don't know who you are. And I refuse to go through what I went through. I'm actually just petrified of being in a relationship because of what I went through. Yeah. But that's now on me to just change that mindset. And I think it's really good that I have this mindset, because now I will be so careful with who I choose, because I just can't go through something like that again. And
ultimately the healing work that you're doing with yourself, you'll start to recognize that in another person. And I always think that this is a common mistake, not just for females, but males as well. Because I think females get a bad rap where it's like, they're always looking for love. I'm searching for love. I can't find love. I'm looking for the right man. And I'm like, I think in order to have a compatible relationship where both are on the same level, you both need to be in a good place mentally.
100%.
And I think it's only when you do the inner work on yourself, and I say it and people think it's such woo-woo bollocks. It's like, you need
I'm up for the woo-woo.
Inner work. You need to understand who you are, what you like, what you don't like, all of those things. And like you said, you have to take a time away from being in relationships, and even the flippant ones, and get the fuck off Tinder and just spend some time on yourself. And when you do that, you'll start to radiate this glow that your friends are seeing, because it's like you're not finding that gratification or that love from someone else. You're starting to love yourself, and it looks completely different. And you also don't give off this desperate vibe in a bar where you're searching for a man. It's almost, you become unattainable in a way that's a glowing, gorgeous version of yourself, where you don't need someone. And then because you've done that work, you can recognize that in other people, the same as you can recognize True. It's not the type of person I want to be with when you see somebody else. And it's not you being judgmental in that moment. It's, I can see you're working on yourself. I'm going to let you crack on. You're not the person for me yet.
Like, it's completely fine to be out of alignment with someone. And, you know, and that's completely fine. That's completely fine. And I feel that people, you just need to leave people to get on with what they're doing.
And like you said at the very start, is you're a people pleaser. You want to help people. So you have to almost relinquish that and be like, I'm not here to help heal you. You
I'm
need
not
to
a mother.
figure that out.
I'm not your mother. Like, I need to not go into like any kind of relationship. And this is even friendships. Like, I've had to, I remember one of my friends, and I can say her name, it's Carly, but she's hi Carly. She knows this. So, and it's funny because I speak about her a lot, especially because we went through a phase when we were so close, and we now are really close again. We were really close, and then we had this year and a half where we weren't, because she needed to go off and sort out her own shit. Like, she got herself in a rut, and she hit the lowest point, and now she's doing so fucking good. And like, I saw her when I was back in England, and I was just like, she was spitting all these things, and I was like, what have you done with Carly? Like, where is she? Because this is not the girl that I know, but she's grown up. Because when you create space and when you let people get on with it and they hit their lowest point, they are then able to be like, fuck, okay. And she, you know, she apologized. She didn't treat me badly or anything. It's just, you know, there was just a few things here and there, little hiccups. But like, she said, like, I'm sorry for the way that I was. And like, that's all I fucking need. You know what I mean? Like, it's so nice to hear someone be accountable for their actions. And it's like, the fact that she said sorry, it's like that I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, you quite clearly are such a different person, and I'm so proud of who you've become. And like, I am so, you know, I do believe that people can have a second chance, maybe not in a relationship, you know, but you can become friends with someone again. But like,
everyone's human. We all make mistakes. We all fuck up.
We all fuck up. And it's just like, but be accountable and for your actions, and also put things right that were wrong, you know, and say, I'm sorry that, you know, I can't change the past, but I'm sorry the way that I treated you. And you just know when someone's sincere with it, you know, you like she is, and she's just radiating and she's glowing. And I'm like, good for you. Like, you just said, fuck it, I'm going to go off and just do my life and live in peace. And it's exactly what she did. And I'm just so proud of her. So
tell us about LA. You were going to move there, because we need to talk about the dogs, the poor dogs. So they were here in Dubai.
Okay, so obviously in 2021, when I went to LA, and I was like, this is lit. But I spent 3 months of just fucking wasting money, partying, because I just was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Like, I need to just find the new Nicole. And met a bunch of really, really dope people who are now still my friends. And like, I would go to content houses and I would go to content parties, and it's where you meet other influencers and all of this. Loved it. Fell in love with LA, because I was like, this is great. And then, so I would come back to Dubai, and then I would go back again. And I was like, okay, it's my goal in March to move my dogs to the UK. And then I'll move to LA. And then eventually I'll move them to LA once I've got settled and stuff. Like, I'll give myself 6 months in LA before I move them over. So March 2022 came, moved my dogs to England, which, by the way, if you ever need to put your dogs on a plane and you're not with them, have you ever done that? Don't.
We can't. I don't think we can take. Well, we could take ours back to the UK, but they could never come back here because they're American bullies.
Oh.
So because they're bred here, we've got them.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh, that is okay.
Yeah,
so definitely
if we took them back to the UK, they'd never come back in.
Oh my god! So basically, because they're pugs as well, and they couldn't go in the cabin with me, they have to go in cargo.
Oh, don't.
Oh my god! I remember sending a voice note to one of my best friends in Australia, you know when someone is hysterically crying, like I was like that. It was horrible because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I feel such a soul tie with my dogs, and I'm sure you do as well, that I don't know what would happen to me if something happened to them. Anyway, they landed in England and they were like, what's all this new smell? Because it's so fresh. Like, anyway, decided to go to LA in the March, April time. And that's when I started to be like, it's a bit of a shithole, really.
I was going to say it is a bit.
It's a shithole.
Sorry, no offense to anybody that's from LA, but it's a bit stanky.
It's a shithole. And the thing is it's the people from LA that don't make it a shithole.
No.
The people from LA and from California are pissed off at the people that come, like myself, to California. But the biggest thing for me is not only is it that you can't go out of your house without thinking you could get robbed or stabbed or fucking shot at any point in your life, but like the type of people that are out there in the content creating world think that they think their sun shines out of their arse, sorry. And it's just like, we all started from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, just because I don't have 1 million followers, like, you can't come into this party. Like, you have to put down, if you want to go to a party in LA, you have to put down
handle.
your Instagram, how many followers you have. And then it says, if you don't have more than 1 million followers, you won't be invited. But then a model with 50K followers can come because she's shagging the main guy. I can't deal with it.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
I can't deal with it. It's bullshit. It's bullshit people. There are some really lovely people that I've met, and the people that they know who they are if they ever saw this. Like, they're fucking great and I love them, and they've got millions of followers and they're awesome people. But there are also the fucking rats of LA that are just social climbers. They will fuck anyone to get where they want to be. They will use you as a friend, and I'm not like that. I'm real as fuck. I don't want to be there. It's dying. LA is dead. It's a fucking boulevard of broken dreams. Like, the walk of fame is the walk of shame, in my opinion. So but in the April, that's where I met my ex, and we met at Gold's Gym, and we literally started dating very, very, very quick. He was like, let's fast track this. And I'm like, okay, we've never had a relationship before. This isn't really how it works. We're usually in a relationship 3 weeks after meeting, but okay. Went along with it. And he was then like, he hated LA as well. And he's not on social media. Like, he dabbles a bit in TikTok, and he's an engineer, which I loved, because I was like, great, someone that's not on social media. He's a normal guy. He's a nerd. Like, this is great. And he's like, I want to move to Texas. And I was like, okay, let's fucking go. Because he's from Texas. Well, he's originally Puerto Rican, but he's from Texas. So anyway, I was like, okay, fuck it, let's go. So I ended up moving to Texas. Well, I did like 3 months there and then came back, did like 2 months, and then obviously it ended. And to be fair, I didn't have a good time because I was just alone. And it's like, as an adult, it's very difficult to go and make friends. And like, the only time I would go out is when we would go out clubbing. And it's like, I don't want to go out clubbing all the time, and I don't want to go and meet people out clubbing. So it became very, very lonely. And I just felt a little bit like claustrophobic kind of thing. And then obviously when we broke up, I went to LA to go and be with friends. And then I was just like,
this place is dead for me now.
So dead. But then I was like, okay, you know what? I'll go to Coachella. I'll go to Coachella in April for my birthday and all of this. And I thought, okay, let's go Coachella. And that was the point when I thought, I cannot stand the people here. We were at Coachella. And another thing people do, they name drop all the fucking time. Like, let's go to this restaurant because Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be there. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care if he's going to be there, because he equally doesn't care if I'm going to be there. Like, he does not know who I am. I'm not going to go and talk to him. I'm not going to go and ask him for a photo. I just want him to eat, and I want to eat. I don't care. I respect his work. I think he's a fucking great actor, but I don't want to bother him. We were at Coachella. Leonardo DiCaprio is literally in like the booth next, like in the main section or whatever, and girls around are like, oh my god, I need to get in that area, I need to go, like I need to be with him, like he needs to see me, and they're like trying to, you know, be, no, who are you trying to be seen by? No one. Just stop. Like, you look desperate, stop. And it was at that point when I was at Coachella and I thought, it's just an Instagram show. Like we went to these Instagram after parties and I'm like, I actually just can't stand being here because everyone is just trying to outdo each other. But what are you trying to outdo? Once upon a time, Instagram wasn't a thing. So we were all nobodies. So why don't we all just be a bit more genuine and like actually be authentic, you know? So it was at that point when I was like, you know what? Like I've got my friends here and that's all I need. And I don't want to be interacting with these other type of people. And it's like, there's this theory that if you go to LA and you want to be a dancer or an Instagram person or an actor, you'll have to be in LA to make it. And it's like, if you're going to make it in that, you're going to be able to do it anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
So
the internet is worldwide.
That's exactly it, you know? So be on social media. I can do this anywhere in the fucking world and LA is not it. So then I was like, okay, let me go back to Dubai. And well, then I went to England and then now I'm back here and I'll be here for 6 months. And I was just like, I can't be dealing with it. I can't be dealing with it. It's too much. It's just, like anyone who's going to move there, I'll just be like, good luck. I'll see you soon because you'll be back in Dubai. Because also the safety, like there's and it's becoming such a big hub for social media anyway. So it's like, I'd be so silly to go all that way and move my entire life over there. And when it comes to my dogs, it's like they're actually in a better place in the UK because of the weather. And as much as I miss them, I've decided to do 6 months in England and 6 months here. So it's like I get to split that time. And hopefully as time passes, you know, I can bring them on a flight with me and, you know, who knows what can happen. But I know that they're so safe with my mum. So
that's good.
It's all right, I guess.
Bless you.
I know. It's so
6 months here.
Yeah.
What's the plans for Nicole moving forward? Obviously, social media is still doing its thing apart from your little Instagram battles with trying to get your posts back up.
Fucking hell, Instagram, sort it out. So now I'm just going to keep riding this wave of what's going on. Are
we going to do a parody together or what?
We are going to do a parody together.
100%.
I'll think of a video.
It's got to be splits because I'm trying to do the splits.
Oh, it can be splits actually.
I'm practicing the split. So, and you said you wanted to stretch my pussy fat. So
that's true. Actually, we can do one where like the trainer is being like overly stretchy or like touchy or
creepy.
Something, and I can just do that with you. That's fine. I can put on a moustache.
Yeah, I've also dressed up many a time.
I've also got a dangling ball sack that I can. That I can use. That could be fun, couldn't it? And I'm just stretching you and I'm like, yeah, baby. I'll probably do a voiceover with it, like what that I usually do. But so keep riding this wave. And at the moment, I'm just really focused on building investments. I have a financial advisor over here and he's fucking incredible.
I was going to ask, I bet you do.
I love him so much. So basically in June, I think it was May or June,
You're not supposed to move when he does that.
I know, but it's just so difficult.
So now you're gonna have to say it again. I'm gonna have to edit it, but it's fine. Or maybe I'll just keep it in.
Yeah, right.
He was like, and you were like,
jazz hands. So
financial advisor, he's pretty sick.
Love him. So basically what happened is that I've known him since 2021. No, I can't even remember these dates now. Anyway, we met a few years ago and he was like, trying to like help me with investments and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it soon, one day or whatever. Went to LA, 2021, spent all of my money, didn't have any savings, but I just bought my first place as well. So I was like, this is fine. And then I bought a second place at the end of the year. And I was like, this is great. Like I've got 2 places, I'm fine. And then it was at the end of last year when I came back here, he was like, you need to have a certain amount of savings in your account. And I am going to speak to you in March. And if you have it, then we can move forward with investments because I know that you're being serious about it. Got the savings ready and he was like, okay, let's just invest a little bit every single month and you know, we just catch up every quarter of the year or whatever. June came or end of May and basically my bank here stopped my OF payments from going in.
No.
Yeah, but just for obvious reasons. I think they didn't directly say, because OF isn't paid from OnlyFans. It's called Phoenix International, which own OnlyFans. So I was like, I mean, it makes sense. You know what? I'm playing with fire. I don't know what to do. But I basically didn't get paid for 4 months in the summer. But if it wasn't for my financial advisor saying, you need to have money as a buffer, I would be absolutely fucked. Anyway, so the money was accumulating, then my Instagram pops off. And then usually when Instagram pops off, so does OF because people obviously
That's the whole
brings
point.
traffic. Yeah, it brings traffic. So that's been doing really well, touch wood. And so now my main focus is just to keep investing. So I just send him money and he just holds me accountable and that's my biggest thing, is I need to just build a bit more stability in terms of making my money work for me, because there will be a time when I am going to stop doing OF. And as much as I'm happy doing it, I think that a lot of it reminds me of the time
I was going to ask
when of the reasons of why I got it and the situation that I was in when I had it. And it kind of, I think that might be the last phase to really step into someone else. However, again, I'm happy that I have it. I don't regret anything. But I just feel that there is going to be a time when I need to move on from it. So I'm kind of aiming towards that. But you know, it could also be in about 4 years time. Like who knows, you know? And I also I think as well, when it comes to relationships, I don't think many guys would be okay with it. Any normal guy be okay with it, let's say, of me having an OF, unless they're super just understanding and they're like, you do what you got to do. I don't like it, but I get it that it's your hustle, you know? So I think that I think if I want to be taken seriously, I need to kind of step away from it, because unfortunately there is a stigma, you know, like I don't do porn and I've never done porn on there. But when I say I've got an OF, they're like, oh my God, so you get like fisted? And I'm like, no, not quite, not quite to that extent, you know? So it's, there's just a stigma with it. And hopefully over time that stigma will be removed. But I just think there will be a time when I think I need to part ways with it. Just like anything, just like how you did with teaching, just like how I did with personal training. And when I was in real estate, you know, there will be a time when you just need to cut that tie. So I think that it will come one day, you know?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I have one final question for you then.
Go on.
How would you like to be remembered? The whole versions of Nicole that we've seen over the years, how would you like best to be remembered? If someone was to say, I knew Nicole and she was like this. I think the first thing that comes to my head, well, obviously is like funny, but also just kind and loving, and like, I just don't have a bad bone in my body. Like I don't ever want to do dirty on someone. I want people to be the best version of themselves. And I just would love for people to realize of me. Like there is more to the humor, you know. I'm actually a very soft, emotional person. Like I'm super loving. And again, I'm like a mother. I'm a motherly type. But people only get to see 1% of me. So they just sometimes can just make that assumption. But equally just like a whole rounded person of like comedy and soft and kind and just a lovely girl. I haven't done many accents. It was very... You really haven't.
I haven't. Am I okay? I don't know what's wrong. I liked it though. I like it.
It's been amazing, Nicole. Thank you so
much
for joining me. And I have to say that you are a kind and caring person. And
thank you.
You were one of the first people I messaged when I said I wanted to start this podcast. I was like, yes, there were lots of other kind of like bodybuilders and stuff in the industry, but I said to Darren, I was like, I want Nicole on. I need to fucking talk to this girl so badly.
I love it. Thank you so much.
And you messaged me back and you were like, yes, let's do it.
Absolutely.
As soon as I'm back.
I love rabbiting. Well, I have. That's all I've done. I feel like I've just spoken so much.
Well, I'll tell you what, then you can close off and you can thank everyone for watching and listening and get them to do all of the good things and the liking and subscribing.
Yeah. So like, okay, firstly, never go to LA because it's just a fucking shithole. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us both on Instagram. Also my OnlyFans if you want. What else do I have to say? And
catch you in the next one.
We'll catch you in the next one.